Now there is a man of words. Capacity crowd here at the beautiful outdoor facility, Caesars Tahoe, as Bo Williford leads the charges of James Quick Tillis. Some say that Tillis is washed up. Some say he is riled up because Holyfield thinks of him strictly as a stepping stone. But realistically, what kind of a challenge do you think Tillis poses for Holyfield, Ferdy?
I think a very interesting challenge in that he is a legitimate heavyweight. By that I mean he has met 6 world champions, as we have just seen in the pieces. He had a very good performance against Tyson, who was young and raw and didn't know how to handle all that talent that Tillis has. Tillis is one of those in and out fighters. If he's on and if he's really fighting hard, he will represent a hard challenge for Evander Holyfield. If he decides his strategy should be to select the style that he wants to and stick to his game plan. That's been his problem. He changes round to round and doesn't stick to it. So he must use his motion to last through these early rounds, because the whole thing is, can Holyfield carry this weight as a heavyweight in this high rarefied air?
The fighting cowboy, James Quick Tillis, says he plans to come out, throw combinations, and dance all night. Holyfield says he thinks that Tillis will come out and hold.
You know, he is such an enigma. I've seen him look so good, and I've seen him look so awful that it's like a roller coaster. The only thing you are sure of is his indecisiveness. I mean, that's the only thing you can count on. He's going to be, can't figure out what he wants to do. He can't figure out whether he's going to go this way or that way. He's got a good corner man. He's got a good corner. He's got a wonderful night. And if he doesn't do it today, he can kiss the big money paydays goodbye.
Well, Quick Tillis will either be remembered as Evander Holyfield's first victim in the heavyweight division, or the man who derailed Evander Holyfield on the way to the mountaintop. And here comes Evander Holyfield, the world cruiserweight champion, stepping up into the heavyweight division for the first time, just 25 years of age. He has made it very plain and clear that he feels he can take Mike Tyson right now because of his style. He's not concerned about the step up in weight class whatsoever. And rather than beef up, his mission is to sculpt himself into a fighting machine. He put on 12 pounds. He went from 190 to 202. He also gained some height.
Where did it go? Because it's only 2 inches around the collar and 2 inches around the waist. My lifetime when I'm going up. I mean, it doesn't sound like he's moving into anything exciting, yet he has this beautifully sculpted body that carries that weight, and you can notice the difference. He's beginning to get one of those Mike Tyson necks that goes from the earlobes down to the shoulders, you know. And as we pointed out, the difficulty is, can you carry the weight? Just adding weight doesn't make you a heavyweight. What he's got to do is finish off Tillis as early as he can by cutting the ring off and banging to the body, jabbing to keep him steady, and then banging to the body. That ends a fight early, and the question of stamina as a heavyweight goes out the window. He doesn't have to be there to find out about it. Also, he's got to be ready to improvise, as Tillis does these tremendous changes almost in mid-round. I think Evander Holyfield is very good at doing that. He's learned patience. He's learned not to go for a knockout and get exasperated with the fights with Ocasio and De Leon. Now he has got presented with a challenge where he must look good for the heavyweight, but he doesn't really have to look great. He's just got to look good and beat a heavyweight that's a legitimate heavyweight. That's what we're going to see here today.
He has become the media darling, perceived as the next serious challenger to Mike Tyson's title in about a year. As you check out the tail of the tape, Holyfield with the 1.5 inch height advantage actually went up a ½ inch in height since the last fight as a cruiserweight, gained 12 pounds, grew a ½ inch. His goal was 202. That's exactly what he weighed this morning. In case you were wondering, Tyson weighed 218.25 for Michael Spinks. Holyfield has also added a ½ inch on his reach, now 77.5. Here are your Nevada rules. 10-point must system, 3 scoring judges. The standing 8 count is in effect. 3 knockdown rule is in effect, and you can be saved by the bell only in the final round. Up to ring announcer Jim Murata for the intros.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. Your officials assigned to this contest by the Nevada State Athletic Commission are as follows. Judges, Keith McDonald, Lillian Running Wolf, and Doug Tucker. The timekeeper is Jim Carpenter. Counting for the knockdowns, Steve Menzel. The doctors in attendance, Dr. Edward Dene and Dr. James McLennan. And your referee, the very capable Richard Steele. Introducing the principals. First in the red corner, he hails from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's wearing white trunks trimmed in red and blue. He weighs in at an even 210 pounds, 29 big knockouts in his 38 wins. The Fighting Cowboy, James Quick Tillis. His opponent in the blue corner is from Atlanta, Georgia. He's wearing black trunks with red trim. Come on, baby, let's go. He weighs in at 202 pounds even. A professional record of 18-0 with 14 big KOs. Here he is, the undisputed, the undefeated cruiserweight champion of the world, the real deal, Evander Holyfield.
Okay, you guys, I gave you both instructions in your dressing room. I want to caution you again, obey my commands at all times. Shake hands and good luck.
Final instructions from referee Richard Steele. Evander Holyfield says should he lose tonight or make a poor showing, he will not go back to the cruiserweight division. He says he'll campaign as a heavyweight no matter what happens tonight. He hopes it's all academic. James Quick Tillis, the veteran at 31, 6 years older than Holyfield. Holyfield 18-0 with 14 knockouts. And Tillis is 38, 13-1 with 29 KOs. It is Tillis wearing the white trunks with the red and blue trim. Holyfield in the black trunks with the red trim. So we are underway, round one scheduled for 10.
And the most immediate thing that strikes you is that the size differential. Nice punching. Quick Tillis looks like a legitimate heavyweight, big, tall, rangy, and Holyfield much smaller.
Tillis saying that he was not intimidated by the scientific high-tech training methods of Evander Holyfield. Easy-going, free-spirited guy. Evander, the real deal Holyfield, became boxing's first undisputed cruiserweight champ by knocking out Carlos De Leon in the 8th round back on April the 9th. And on that same card, Tillis KO'd Rod Smith in the 2nd round. But Tillis, since his close defeat against Mike Tyson in 1986, has really been on a roller coaster ride. He had a tough 87, 5 fights. He got knocked out 3 times.
The only thing that you can say to recommend him for this fight is that he gave Iron Mike Tyson a very hard battle, but that was 2 years ago when Tyson was really learning how to handle big heavyweights like this, trying to find out what to do with a big guy that moves well. His 87 3 losses is nothing to cheer about, and it is a mark of his instability that he just doesn't present himself ready to fight every time. We'll see what he's like today.
Yes, to put it all in perspective, when you talk about that close one with Tyson, you have to qualify. It was 2 years ago. The crowd will roar anytime Holyfield comes close.
Holyfield's objective, as taught by Georgie Benton and Lou Duba, was to jab hard right to the chest. Don't even try to hit the head. Just come in hard and throw punches at his shoulder and throw punches at his chest. Keep him from moving. Keep him from bouncing. He's done that so far. He's got him standing straight. He's not bouncing around. He's not running. Holyfield's doing a good job of controlling any running impulse that Quick Tillis might have.
Holyfield says that to win tonight, he must control the fight and dictate the pace. Tillis said he'll come out for accommodations and dance all night. Holyfield totally disagreed, expecting Tillis to come out and do a lot of holding.
What we'll see here is how the heavy Holyfield punch works on heavyweights, because up to this point he has gone right through light heavyweights and gone right through cruiserweights, and nobody can take the shots of Evander Holyfield. Let's see what he does with a man who's not known for taking a great shot in the last couple of years.
Final seconds of this first round. Round one is history. The first round for Evander Holyfield as a heavyweight. Lou Duba, George Benton, Ace Barada in the corner. Well, things that Evander said he would have to do is go to the body, Ferdy.
Go right to the chest, right to the front. You just saw a punch right to the chest. That is exactly what Duva teaches with Georgie Benton. Punch anywhere but hit something. The easiest thing to hit is a man's chest. Go for it. That's what he did that first round. Kept him from bouncing, won the round handily. Did Evander Holyfield.
Tillis's corner, Bo Williford, his manager, handles cuts. Also in there, Lawrence Lakey and Barry Tillis, the younger brother of James.
Tillis did not show or manifest a great desire to fight toe-to-toe nor to run. He simply did not much.
Round 2, it's scheduled for 10. A battle of heavyweights. The heavyweight debut for Evander Holyfield in the black trunks with the red trim. Tillis in the white trunks with the red and white trim, red and blue trim. There's the jab that Holyfield is famous for. He's also famous for his hand speed and his quickness, and so far it doesn't seem to have suffered despite putting on the extra 12 pounds.
That's evident, and that's what if you're watching this fight, to score Evander Holyfield progress into the heavyweights, notice his hand speed. He's just faster than the other guy by just a hair, but he gets it off first and it lands first, discombobulating any offensive plans that Quick Tillis might have.
Evander Holyfield, an excellent, exquisite boxer, uses the jab effectively. All business, not a showboat. That was more a push than anything else.
Oh, that was more sloppiness than anything else from Quick Tillis, who was already starting to be a little sloppy. You didn't need to do that. That was too far back to lean into the ropes.
He's going to be very careful against Evander Holyfield or he's in trouble.
He's holding his hand up, but he's pulling back from a punch. Evander will eat him up if he keeps pulling back like that, because he is not Muhammad Ali. He doesn't have that speed and ranginess to avoid a punch going back.
Tillis claims that Holyfield fights off balance.
Well, a lot of that off balance is the punching and pushing that Holyfield is doing right now.
James Quick Tillis won his first 20 fights, won his first 12 by knockout, thus the nickname Quick. And he used to move a lot quicker as well in the ring. And he said tonight he would like to move in and out side to side. There's a left, a stiff left by Holyfield on the inside.
Well, he's going to have to change his name to Not So Quick Tillis, because he's getting outspeeded and slugged.
Here's an assault by Holyfield. And the crowd reacts. Capacity crowd of about 5,000 here in the outdoor arena at Caesars Tahoe. Cooling off, making it very pleasant for the fighters and the fans.
For one of the fighters. The other one isn't having too much fun right now. Tillis, still no offense from Tillis. Still nothing to scare off or hold off Holyfield. Whether he's trying to lure him into a sharp punch, you won't know, but he may find himself on his back waiting for that lure to happen. There was one. What a great example of hand speed.
A hard right by Holyfield. That stunned Tillis.
And Tillis holding on with 9 seconds, 8 seconds left to go.
Another right as the bell sounds. And after the bell, they continue to go. Richard Steele has to step in. And look out now. Lou Duva and Bo Williford in the two corners are going at it. Richard Steele has to step between the two trainers.
There's no room in boxing for that. There is no room in boxing for that kind of nonsense. That's hooliganism at any level. That should not be allowed.
One of the most bizarre incidents you'll ever see.
When tempers flare like that, experienced hands like Lou Duva and Williford should know better than to try to go at each other. That's sometimes called maturity.
Let's look at the end of round 2. Let's see how things develop.
Well, you can't hear the bell, but you could see that the fighting continued. Duva then held on to Quick Tillis so there wouldn't be any continuous action. Williford misinterpreted that and came in. That should never have happened. Never should that have happened.
And here we go. Round 3, and this crowd is revved up.
Well, one of the things it did was wake up Quick Tillis, because he's mad. Up to this point, he's just been willing to be waltzing Matilda and not do too much fighting. He woke up.
Now, I can see if Holyfield continued to punch Tillis while he was being held by Duva, that's one thing. But Williford could not see that, apparently, from behind, and did misinterpret.
Well, there are specific rules which go to the conduct of a cornerman. He is not to be involved in any brawl, much less precipitate one or start one. They could be in line for a stiff fine. In the meantime, Evander Holyfield continues to pick up the pace. His hand speed is awesome tonight.
So what a wild conclusion to round 2. And you wonder if something like that could eventually lead to a disqualification, but so much at stake here tonight.
Well, the two fighters weren't the ones who were getting hurt. It was two older guys that should know better. I don't think their cardiac system is meant to fight at this age.
Lou Duva, who is known as the chief operating officer and head trainer as far as Team Holyfield is concerned. Bull Williford is a manager.
Well, both have been fighters, and both are short-tempered men, both of them. And, of course, we've seen that happen with Lou over and over and over again.
Past the midway mark, round 3. Things really heating up at the end of round 2. And so far, this third round, uneventful, relatively speaking.
After the second round, it is a peaceful round, but the superior hand speed and ring generalship of Holyfield is vastly, evidently superior to Tillis, who went back to slow motion after a pretty peppy start. One of the tests that Lou Duva and everyone in the United States is waiting to see is how will Holyfield react when he feels a real heavyweight punch.
And that was a heavy right by Holyfield. A right to the body by Holyfield that pushes Tillis back into Holyfield's corner.
It's that kind of punch to the body that makes Quick Tillis wish that he was back on the range punching cattle. They don't punch back.
Back in Gibson Station, Oklahoma, 50 miles southeast of his home in Tulsa. Less than 30 seconds, round 3. An attack by Holyfield to the head and the chest.
A beautiful attack. Double jab, right hand, hook after it, and followed with a series of combination punches. Tillis covering up well.
Another good right by Holyfield. That landed a combination by Holyfield. And Tillis hangs on. Heading for the bell, round 3. Well, it was sheer chaos towards the end of round 2. It is certainly worth another look.
What happened here is as the bell rang and the fighters continued to fight, Duva, in order to separate them, took Tillis. The referee took Evander Holyfield, but Williford, who could not see all the way across, thought his man was being held and rushed Duva. And, of course, you see the referee is getting between. He's got Evander Holyfield under control. Duva has got Tillis under control, but here comes Williford. And he's saying, go on back. There's nothing. So somebody threw a robe at him.
And did you notice on the right-hand side of the screen what happened there? Tillis and Holyfield hugged.
So let these old guys fight. Let's just have a little fun here.
Here we go, gentlemen.
A lot of Vaseline on the face of Tillis. Now Williford, one last rub.
Tillis is trying to time the rushes of Holyfield. He's willing to take 2 or 3 shots. He feels he can catch him coming in, which are the punches that hurt. When you hit a guy in full speed and you're throwing your punch from your shoulder, those are the kind of punches Ali used on Foreman in the jungle that stunned him. And that's what he's trying to do, but it hasn't worked. There he comes.
Combination by Tillis, round 4, scheduled for 10. Live on Showtime from Caesars Tahoe in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. Gorgeous evening, capacity crowd about 5,000 to see Evander Holyfield's heavyweight debut. And the action picking up again.
Again and again, at the risk of being repetitious and monotonous, it is a question of hand speed, reflexes. That's what this boxing game is all about. It's a very young man at the top of his form and a guy sliding into oblivion that you're seeing here without the reflexes. When that happens, the equation usually goes to the man with the sharp reflexes. Holyfield's chin has yet to be tested. He has yet to be hit hard.
Richard Steele saying, punch your way out. A heavy right by Holyfield.
Tillis willing to punch and grab, trying to take and buy time. Whether he thinks the later rounds will be his, because Holyfield with an added 12 pounds and this advantage of the altitude might make him tired, but right now it doesn't look like he's even breathing hard. Evander is doing very well, and Tillis looks like the boxer who is going to be exhausted.
Holyfield wearing the black trunks with the red trim. Tillis in the white trunks with the red, white, and blue trim. And Richard Steele is getting somewhat angry. Punch your way out, he keeps saying, because there's too much holding.
See, that's the indication of a guy starting to resign. A couple of punches and he holds Holyfield. A couple of punches and he holds Holyfield. That's a guy saying, let me think of how I can get out of this.
Not a positive approach. Meanwhile, looks like Holyfield's just waiting for that swift combination to put Tillis away. Less than 30 seconds, round 4, scheduled for 10. Sunset falling over Lake Tahoe. Holyfield likes to set up that devastating right with the left jabs. Weak lefts by Tillis. That right was blocked by Tillis. And at the bell, a hard right by Holyfield. And again, they almost went at it after the bell as we follow James Quick Tillis into his corner. Wally Matthews will have a clarification on the chaos at the end of round 2. Wally?
Now, according to Chuck Minker of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, the responsibility for calling a disqualification in that instance lies solely with referee Richard Steele. Now, apparently Lou Duva grabbed James Quick Tillis after the round, but Evander Holyfield never did hit him at that point. So, according to Minker, it did not look like grounds for a disqualification, although Steele does have the power to disqualify a fighter or for the actions of his corner immediately. Minker said that they will look at the tape afterward, but from what he could see at ringside, there was no disqualification called for there. Now back to Steve.
Thank you very much, Wally. And that would have been ugly had Holyfield hit Tillis, perhaps unwittingly. Unfortunately, he held back.
It's very hard right when the bell sounds. It's just hard to hold a punch back. And one punch isn't bad. 2 or 3 are something else. I mean, as far as disqualification of that little riotous incident, I didn't think that was called for. I thought a mild fine and a hand slap. Don't do that again. Here's a $100 fine for you. That's something else.
All right, round 5 scheduled for 10. Steve Albert with the fight doctor Freddie Pacheco, Wally Matthews ringside at Caesars Tahoe. Evander Holyfield continues to dictate the pace. He's wearing the black trunks. Tillis in the white. Holyfield's heavyweight debut.
Tillis's legs looking wobbly. Look like they do not want to take too much more of this.
Tillis just looking to protect his face. Tillis looks spent.
Yes, he does. He's been looking spent for about the last 2 rounds. The pounding he's been taking.
Oh, a combination by Holyfield. A blistering assault. And Tillis just throws him away with his right glove. The uppercut by Holyfield. We're seeing his entire repertoire here.
And what he's learned in the awful fights that he had to fight with Ocasio and De Leon was patience. Patience. Pace himself. Don't go crazy. And that's certainly holding him in good stead. He's fighting his fight. He's not getting nuts. He's just going at Tillis, chopping him down bit by bit. Tillis, for his part, doesn't seem like he's got an idea in his head as to how to hold off Holyfield, merely trying to last the rounds.
Evander Holyfield, 12 pounds heavier than his last fight when he won the World Cruiserweight Championship. Unified the title. He was 190. He's now 202. Tillis checks in at 210. He was 228 when he went into training. But he says he's in better shape now than when he fought Tyson 2 years ago. But so far, it's been Evander Holyfield controlling.
Come on, your hands are free. Your hands are free. Your hands.
Holyfield, let's fly. Oh, and a right by Holyfield.
And Tillis looks like he's looking for a place to land. He's looking for a good excuse to go down. A couple of good shots, and he'll be gone.
Thunderous drives by Evander Holyfield. Tillis with his hands down.
Give Tillis credit. He's taking those shots. He could go down under any one of those.
Let's see if he can survive the 5th round. Approaching 20 seconds remaining.
After all, this is a man that a couple of years ago took everything a young Tyson had to give. So if his mind is set, oh, what a punch by Holyfield.
And he followed up with a left and a right and another left. And Tillis is in trouble. Final seconds, round 5. Can he make it to the bell? He hangs in there. It was almost as if Holyfield sensed this time that the bell would sound. And he stopped punching just a second before the bell rang. So 5 rounds complete, and Tillis being rocked.
Let me call the doctor. How you feel, man? Let me call it. Let the doctor up here.
Heard something about getting a doctor.
Yeah, they're calling a doctor up. Quick Tillis. Apparently, that's one way to get out of there.
Dr. Edward Denay checking Quick Tillis.
Let's see if he can hear what the doctor's saying.
Okay. You want to fight?
It's all over. The doctor apparently advised Richard Steele, and Steele signaled all over. Evander Holyfield has won his heavyweight debut, stopping James Quick Tillis after round 5.
Certainly a good introduction into the heavyweights. If there's a negative that can be found, it will be found, and it will be that he doesn't punch hard enough to lock out anybody, which is would be, in my estimation, nonsense. He punched very well. He showed a great deal of hand speed. He showed a great deal of accuracy in his punching, patience, a mature attitude toward the thing. I think Tillis was just in there for the last 2 or 3 rounds taking punishment. I don't think it was wise of him to have come out for this round. And although the fans, I'm sure, are disappointed, I'm sure he's disappointed, it was rather pointless to come out and get knocked out.
So Evander Holyfield, 1-0 as a heavyweight, 19-0 overall with 15 knockouts. And he's going to celebrate tonight. We'll take a look at the final moments.
Well, you can see from the accuracy. Look at that uppercut, and look at the head, the way it bobbles. You know he's in trouble. He is dizzy. The punches are now beginning to rain on him. The effect is cumulative. If that round had been another 10 seconds, he would have been knocked out. And the point of having the doctor come up was excellent. Richard Steele was perfect in his judgment. The doctor was good in his qualifications. And I'm glad that Bo Williford didn't get brave, and I'm glad that the fighter himself didn't insist. I didn't see anybody raise a but no, I want to continue. Very wise on the part of everybody. A good first test for Holyfield. I think his people should be satisfied, and I think the category of boxers should now be much higher than Quick Tillis for his next fight.
Good night for Lou Duva and company. Frankie Panchito Warren and Evander Holyfield victorious. Wally Matthews is standing by in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the official word. On the advice of the ringside physician, Dr. Edward Denay, referee Richard Steele stops the contest. James Tillis, unable to answer the bell for the 6th round. Your winner by 5th round, technical knockout, still undefeated.
So it was all academic as Jim Murata just made the final announcement. And now Wally with Evander Holyfield.
Well, Evander, I guess we answered the question about whether you can knock out heavyweights, huh?
Well, pretty much I started to wear Tillis down in the later round. And so, you know, he stopped in the corner instead of coming out for the next round.
What was it like to get hit by a heavyweight? Was there any appreciable difference?
Well, no, it really, you know, it wasn't no striking distance where he hit me that it was so much more harder than the cruiserweight. It's just, you know, it's different. He was a smart fighter, and he fought like Carlos Leon in a way.
Yeah. Now, you seem not to have lost any hand speed or any combination punching power there. Did you feel good at the weight?
Well, I felt good. You know, it's all in my first time having the 13 pounds on. I felt good. You know, and I really know that I can get better in time.
Okay. From here, where do you go? A higher ranked contender, another heavyweight like Tillis, or what?
Well, that's up to my manager, Ken Sanders, and my trainers. Well, you know, whatever they think, which step I should take. really relying on my trainer to pick my opponents and my promoter to promote and my manager to agree on everything.
Louis, were you happy with the way Evander fought as a heavyweight?
Oh, geez, how can you fault the guy? The guy did everything beautiful out there. He was jabbing. He went to the body. He had a program to do out there, and he followed everything right to the T. This guy is going to be a heavyweight champion of the world. Believe me when I tell you something. He listens. He does everything. He executes. This guy's going to get better and better and better.
All right, Louis, thank you. Evander, congratulations. Now back to Steve Albert.
All right, Wally. Evander Holyfield will now go back to mission control, as they put it, in Houston, Texas, to continue his prepping for eventually a shot at Mike Tyson. Let's take a look at some more action from this fight.
These are the combination of punches that literally spell the finish to the fight. To all intents and purposes, the fight was over by this point. This is just sort of the exclamation point that finishes the sentence. And welcome to the heavyweights, Evander Holyfield. There will be tougher nights than this.
Well, these are the punctuation marks for Evander, the real deal Holyfield, as he stops James Quick Tillis in his first heavyweight fight. Wally Matthews is standing by right now. There was some controversy in this fight. He's got the referee, Richard Steele. Wally?
Richard, a little extracurricular activity at the end of the second round. Did you consider disqualifying anybody at that point?
No, I really didn't, Wally, because, you know, we in a fight and everybody, you know, tempers up and they're excited and everything. So I know that we're going to have some things unexpected happen. As long as no one got hurt in the deal, I was not going to disqualify or take a point away.
Now, of course, Lou Duva grabbed Tillis, and if the Holyfield had come in there and landed a punch at that point, would you have had to rethink that decision?
Yes, I would. They would have made me act in and deduct the point or disqualify. But, you know, Lou Duva, he was holding Tillis only to stop the fight. He wasn't holding for him to get punched or take any type of punishment.
Okay, now the end of the bout, it appeared that the ringside physician instructed you to stop the fight. Is that what happened?
Yes, I called the doctor in because Tillis, you know, he fought a game fight. He tried every old trick. He tried his jab. He tried all the things that, you know, a good pro would try to win. But he was just a worn-down fighter. You know, he was a beaten fighter.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Well, Evander Holyfield proved that he can fight as a heavyweight tonight. Whether he's the heavyweight to beat Mike Tyson, we don't know, but I'm sure we'll find out in the future. Thank you, and back to Steve.
All right, thanks, Wally. The question now is promoter Dan Duva looking to match his father, Lou Duva, and Bo Williford. In any event, Evander Holyfield has done it in his heavyweight debut, and perhaps in October he'll be matched up with a fighter like Michael Dokes. We shall see.
Yes, I think that's the style of fighter that he has to have to continue his career toward Tyson.
All right, Ferdy, Evander Holyfield successful in his heavyweight debut.